Hey guys, welcome back to Miss Opinionated. This is episode 7, I believe. I haven't posted a podcast episode in a long time. I think the last time I recorded was back at school, and I recorded like another whatever. But like, it's hard to record when you're at home just because like I'm working an internship. Basically, it is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so I'm exhausted all the time. I'm also studying for my LSATs. Um, it's taken a few weeks, so pray for me, please, 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 please. But yeah, I just been really busy, but the world has not stopped, and there's so much, so much to talk about. But I'm trying to see if there's any other updates for me. Just life. I'm almost done. Um, I think I'm moving back in like 4 weeks back to school. I'm an RA, so I'm moving early. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm currently in Boston Common. I typically record, in a room, which is what I prefer. But obviously, like my room is just not that like great and soundproof, and my house is. So I just like let me just go outside somewhere. I don't even live in Boston, but I was already here, so I was like, let me just record outside. The scenery is pretty. I don't know what these buildings are, but nice. But yeah, I guess we'll just get into it because I feel like there's a lot to cover in the past few weeks, months, really. Let me see the first few things. Okay, was one, the trial, well, the death and then the trial of the killer of Cyrus Carmack Belton. Basically, for those who don't know, he was, I believe, 13. I don't want to get the age wrong, but he was in a convenience store ran by some Asian man. I don't even want to tell you. It's something. I forgot his name. I can't lie. I should have looked it up, but also I don't really care to give him that much name. Everyone, you can find it somewhere. I promise. But he was, being a black person. That's all he was really killed for, was being a black person, as we typically are, going into a store and allegedly taking a water bottle that probably didn't cost more than $1.50, $2. Um, and the owner and his son chased him out and chased behind him with and shot him in the back. And his wife was also encouraging him to like go and get it back or go do whatever he has to do. That happened I think 3 years ago, and he was finally um the sentence, the case was over, and he was found not guilty, which is quite literally insane. I don't know the full workings of it, but I'm guessing it's probably like self defense. That's like because he killed the man. Like that's not even the boy. Sorry, let me reiterate that little boy. He killed him, but I don't know specifically what the case said or what the reasoning was. I just know that he is no longer in prison, and um, he's really just given a free pass to kill one of us. And of course, that's not uncommon. They've been doing this for a very long time, and it's just like it's you see it every time, you see it all the time, and it never gets easier to deal with. Like I get more and more angry, and then we look at, okay, in that same media cycle was Carmelo Anthony, who shot somebody truthfully in self-defense, because he was bullying him, he was threatening him and whatnot, a white man. And then he was sentenced to 35 years in jail. Isn't that not crazy how that works? This young boy as well. Now on the other side of things, it's a very clear, if any, the clearest display of how race relations work in the United States. Kill black people as much as you want. The government has sanctioned this. I mean, has allowed this for so long, right? And continues to prove it over and over again through their trials, through their cases, through the praise that is given to people who kill us. I think what Kyle Rittenhouse, who like shot up a church. This other just a bunch of white men who like politicians will literally praise for protecting the country, whatever. Like on one hand, and then God forbid we try to defend ourselves. One, our lives do not matter. That's at the end of the day, that's the common theme, is that Black lives do not matter to the United States government, to the world, to people, and that they can take our lives as much as they want. Just because what's the point when you are considered a surplus population? Basically, is a population that the United States or like the government or territory does not see a need or a purpose for your group of people. And if you think about what happened after we were released from slavery, like they were trying to send us away. They didn't know um, how to live like with black people. And so they're originally Abraham Lincoln, who y'all really be thinking cared to free us for real and was like, for the people. It was really all for political um, like moves to keep the union together. But he wanted to send us to Liberia. He tried a little bit, and then I can't get into the history of it, but there's a lot, and I think it's definitely really interesting if you're interested to see what like the whole idea of what Liberia was supposed to be and how they sent a lot of African Americans to that country to kind of develop their own free like nation of black people, and what happened when they realized that there's people who are already there and the clashes that happen, and how that still has led to hierarchies in that country. But that's another story. But it's definitely really interesting if you ever get the chance to like research that or look into it. But to my point, they have been trying to get rid of black people forever. So because they couldn't fully do it by sending us all away, they instilled Jim Crow, arrested us. That's really what prisons are for as well, to get rid of these surplus populations. So if they don't want to be around us, at least they can use us for their labor in their prisons and their industries and whatnot. Um, and then back to current day, they're going to allow us to be killed by state actors, the police, and they're allowed to do this and hurt us and harm us, and nothing ever comes from it. No matter how often we fight back, protest or whatnot, nothing is really happening. And I don't know. I don't know how much legislation would do. I think this is all of a mindset change. You can write whatever you want into the law, but if you are raising your children in a country that has implicitly and even explicitly, but implicitly, conditioned these white children to view blackness as less than, as not tolerable or not necessary, and then you put it on social media, you put it on TV, you show real life cases of where black lives really do not matter. What do you expect? What do you expect? Obviously, people are going to feel away and think away regarding black people, and all we're doing is trying to survive, and we are punished for that. But those two cases were that happened a little while ago, so I want to make sure I brought that up, even though there's so much more. Like I feel like the cycle. Well, also sex. Like these stories are so important, so impactful, and there's lives that are forever changed. Like the family of these boys, but like it gets it gets its views, it gets its impressions, and then the next thing happens because there's so much that's going on, and that we as black people and people of color are facing and fighting. So I just want to make sure I give them their due diligence, and forever rest in peace to Cyrus, and hopefully there's things, legal avenues to take for Carmela Anthony, and I hope they can continuously appeal this case and see what else there is to do. But it is just a really sad case all around. And then the Supreme Court, back on their bullshit, of course, but basically two important cases came out in this span of the last time I talked about the Supreme Court. And one is regarding TPS status, and which is, I think, basically they are able to now withdraw that. And that's protected T. I forgot what T stands for, and I feel like I should look it up because P, protected status, but TPS. This is why I do it beforehand. It's, yeah, temporary protected status, of course. And this provides temporary protection from deportation and work authorization to foreign nationals who are basically foreign people who are coming here, after like a bunch of if war or natural disasters or tragedies are happening in their country of origin. And a really big recipient of this temporary protection status is our Haitian people, and there's a huge population here in Boston and Massachusetts in general. Like so many of the people that I love and care about are Haitian, and like I'm very very much involved in their culture, even as a Nigerian person. I always say I'm Haitian by association because I'm really around them all the time. But a lot of Haitians are now at risk of being sent back to their country, and if you know anything about Haiti, is that that country is barely really a country. It's not really functioning. Obviously, it is being overran right now by gangs. It's being ruled by gangs, and it's funny to me that the United States is trying to send people back to this country that the United States themselves, well, that Europe itself helps to underdevelop or help to keep down. Haiti was the first black republic, first black country to fight for their freedom in 1800, to gain their freedom and their independence in 1801, and have been reaping, have been paying those consequences ever since. You would think after being free, they would be able to develop their own nation, develop their own infrastructure and whatnot, but they were given crippling debt from France for all of the money that France lost, from the slaves and like the land and whatnot. And so they had to pay back the people that they just gained freedom, they just gained their freedom from. And so they have been trying to pay back those millions, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars for years. And because all of their money has had to go to France for whoever allowed that, I don't know who did, but because of that, they haven't been able to invest in their own government and their own infrastructure. And that's why disasters like hurricanes can um, can have such a big impact like that, can remove people from their homes, can displace so many individuals because of the fact that they don't really have that money, that financial security that most countries should be given. And the United States has done very little to help, as of course we'll send millions of dollars in aid to Israel and whatnot, but we can't give some help to a really foundational part of just history of the people here. But again, the common theme is black people don't matter. Black people do not deserve to have a safe environment to live in, don't deserve to really feel comfortable in the places that they are. But yeah, basically the Supreme Court was saying that they are able to take away that after a certain amount of time. So that is a reality that a lot of people are facing now, a lot of fear surrounding that. And prayers out for those people. And all we I it's the Supreme Court. Like, it's hard to really, you can overturn this, but it's going to take a minute, because just to hear one case takes months, and to get another decision takes more months. And so we're gonna have to we're gonna need a practice type case to get the Senate, I mean, get the Supreme Court to do something. But nothing will change until we change those people, which I also just saw that they are introducing legislation to limit the terms, and I am all for it, because why do they have to be in there forever? I think that's kind of crazy. Just, I don't think it's necessary. What job ever does that? I understand, they need, I mean, I actually couldn't really explain to you as to why they would need to be there for that long. I understand keeping them for longer than the presidents are there, sure, whatever, but the rest of their lives, I don't know. I think we need some new voices, younger voices, please. Oh my god, these old people don't care, because they're about to die soon. 10, 20 years, they're gone. We who are fresh and spry and young and have so much more to see are the ones who have to deal with the bullshit that they're putting into plans, into fruition, whatever. And that is just really annoying. And so I do 100% agree that we should limit those terms, so that we're not having people who are decrepit and old and wicked. I think as you age, maybe that's what happens, in office. I mean, in the Supreme Court, making these crazy ass decisions. And speaking of crazy ass decision, I am the next case that happened was regarding birthright citizenships. And you know what? They actually locked in and said that the president can't overturn that, because that's right there in the 14th Amendment, a very big part of the construct of this country. But what I'm not surprised, but also more dumbfounded about, is the fact that it was a 5-4 decision. For it to have been that close is insane to me. And that is just telling me that these people do not care, or do not take their job of protecting the Constitution seriously, for the fact that they were really trying to reword it and change the way that this is applied, and all for Trump. Like this should have been a very easy 9-0 decision, because it's written right there. There's no other way for it to be interpreted. And I haven't finished reading the decision or the dissent, but it was just a lot of craziness from the opposing side as to why they felt like Trump was able to do this. And please, I'm gonna link these things also, because I feel like I want people to just read it themselves and see the reasoning behind these justices. It's actually freaking insane. But those two things also happened, and we'll see what other life changing event is, you know, instigated or if by the Supreme Court in the next few months. Or I think they're done for now. Yeah, the session is over, so at least there's nothing to worry about on that front. But there's always more and more and more and more and more and more. Let me see what else there was that I really wanted to make sure I covered. Nolan Wells, also another black boy taken at the hands of white people. I'll say allegedly because nothing has been confirmed, but it's if you're not, you can put two and two together. A group of I think 5 people, all white, and him, who's a black man, black boy. I think he was like 18, 17. Um, all go on a trip, and then you tell me the white people come back and leave and without him, without the black boy, and he's gone. They can't find him. Apparently, his stuff on his phone was deleted. Clearly, and then the second they got here, they all lawyered up. What? I'm still because I'm saying for the outside. I've actually been doing a lot more like work with like the logic and how to put things together. You can properly infer, though we can't really, because you have to have proof. Like they truthfully need. I'm sure they'll find more, but even the autopsy has come back inconclusive. And I've read it's been some gruesome details I've been seeing, but like they killed that boy. It's 100% a fact. I will 100% stand on that for sure, because this has happened so many times, where black people are in are mainly with white people, which is the whole thing in itself. But something goes wrong, and like they go on a trip or something, and only the black person doesn't make it back, and then the white people just play dumb. Oh, their favorite thing to do is play dumb, especially white women, bro. You just put on a few good tears and act like not like you're the victim, and the America will fall at your feet, bro, and give you whatever it is. They won't even question you. But Nolan Wells is a reminder for us, bro. Keep with your people. Like, I can't lie, but also I understand that some people. I'm grateful and lucky and so privileged to have lived in a city where everybody's black. I knew like maybe 2, 3 white people, truthfully, in my whole entire like from kindergarten to high school, and then even when I got to my college, which is predominantly white, like I'm really only around black people for real. So I'm grateful, but like stick with your people, or at least be careful, bro. Don't be in a space where you are the only black person ever, ever. I don't care how close and how great these white people are to you. You need to be careful and you need to be serious, because it's not if it's not a one-time thing, it's a pattern, bro. And you have to be able to recognize those and be serious. It's not being you know uh over dramatic, or like being sensationalist and thinking about only the worst case scenario. No, because it's just the scenario. This is what's going on every time, where or so many times, enough times to be worried. You should not be the only black person, because even if they don't kill you, they're probably gonna call you some. I've seen that, bro. We have this event at my school where it's called Blarney. Mostly white people go, and that's one of the reasons why I don't go. And they're drunk. And again, white drunk people, I like to stay very far away, especially if I'm by myself. My friend at the time went. He's black and was called the N word. I'm like, what? If you're. I'm not saying you're asking for it, because I wouldn't. That's never ever justification ever. But like, I personally I'm just not gonna put myself in those situations. So be careful. But I also don't want to be insensitive to the real pain that is being caused and that's being felt by his family, because you obviously never want to expect that white friends your son's white friends would put him in a situation like that. But you have to understand, man, like at the end of the day, like their care for us, the white people's care for us is not that deep. It's they're gonna one stick with their people 10 times over. That's also why don't know why y'all will choose them over us. Like it's not to be divisive, but it's I'm not the one starting it, So I'm doing is calling it like it is. But they can smile in your face, and I'm sure there's a few good ones, right? They smile on your face, but at the end of the day, they don't see you as a person. They don't see you as a human being. And again, it's back to what I was saying. Like if they grow up, you don't know what their parents are teaching them, but I could probably assume what most of them are, or what they're learning implicitly from from the classroom, from the TV shows they watch. Like there are so many little things that are, you know, getting in their brains, are making them believe these things about us. And or they're just, they also know that they can get away with this shit because again of the millions of cases I just cited to you, where even if the white person is charged for whatever crime for killing black people, they're still revered by the public for killing people, for killing black people, for keeping the streets safe or whatnot, or for doing their job. Like there's not much there's not much discipline that they experience, and so they feel like they can get away with it. So be careful, please. I'm praying for his family. I'm praying that these white people go down, bro, because this is some evil, terrible shit. And that's just really, really sad to see. And then the last thing of the current events that's just insane is ICE is back at it again. Of course, they're always there, but now they're killing people left and right. I don't want to butcher their names because I don't speak a lick of Spanish, but ICE killed Lorenzo Saldago Arujo in Houston, and then Johann Sebastian Guido. And, one of them was in a very similar to the way they killed, who was it? They were just killing so many people that I forgot the name of someone who was also killed. Oh, Megan Good, who was killed driving her car, I believe. But yeah, the other person, this man who was killed driving his car. And the whole thing was that, he was trying to uh, you know, attack him with the car. If you watch the video, like the car only started swerving after he was shot because he can't drive the car. Um, and ICE was supposed to be restricted from doing traffic stops. That was what was said. And then Trump said, no, no, never mind, keep doing it. Like he literally over overrode that decision and was like, nah, keep doing the traffic stops, because basically he's saying keep killing these people. You're not doing nothing wrong. Another surplus population, this Hispanic community, because they're surplus, as in meaning that they don't need to America. They don't need this population, and they need to get rid of them however they can, because the people that they're deporting, they're not even sending them back to their countries, bro. They're all sitting in detention camps. For what purpose? I'm sure for free labor, of course. Like they don't even want, if it really was about this, we didn't want them in the country, send them back to where they're going to. But like they're still keeping thousands of people in these detention camps to be treated terribly, to be sexually abused, to be forced to do labor, to be sleeping in rooms that the lights are on 24/7, like to just go insane. They want to torture them however they can. And so the killing of these two men again, black people and Hispanic people are really, especially if you know the history of Puerto Ricans and how they were sterilized the same way that black women were, and how they were pushed into the ghettos the same way black people were. Like the history runs deep between us and Hispanic people, and so it's very important that we're aware of that and um, cognizant of the large role that unity should play in the works that we are doing, because that goes to my main point for this episode, is that all these things like I just said is not just happening to us, it's happening to other groups in the country and also people around the world. I mean, I can't even how many times I have to tell you about Palestine. Like it's actually, we haven't heard much from the people there because I'm really convinced that most of them are dead, sadly. Like it's been a long, long, long fight that they've been fighting, and they're still, trying. But it's like their lives are being taken left and right, the same way that ours are. There's a little bit more direct, and it's definitely way scarier that people aren't, calling it what it is, which is a genocide. But that struggle is going on, and then people in Iran who are trying to deal with the bullshit president of ours, or our president, who is in this war for no apparent reason, that we really can't really, that we're not going to win, that there's no winning to it, because there's actually no real point. There was no real point. Just the lies are coming out. But um the struggle that we're experiencing is not um of just our own. It's a universal thing. And that makes me want to reference this book that I had just finished reading, called Freedom is a Constant Struggle: Ferguson, Palestine, and the Foundations of a Movement, by Angela Davis. Love her down. I was reading this on my commute to work, and the biggest point, oh Lord, these dogs are like attacking someone or barking, I don't know. But the biggest theme of this book, and the biggest like point, is that our struggles are all connected. And if you try to limit yourself to the small experience that you yourself are having, and think that it's just you going through it, you'll forget that many of us are all facing the same problems from the same oppressor. Because once we all realize that, we have more reason to band together to do said, fighting back, fight the power, whatnot. So this is a really good book. I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna put this in the bio as well. It's really, really good if you get the chance. It's a short read. It's a bunch of essays and like speeches that she's given. But additionally, the whole point of like trying to understand that all of our struggles are connected is that we have to realize that we can't rely on this government, like at the point that we are at. And I'm waiting. I'm ready for this revolution. I've been saying this for at least 2 years, that I'm ready for the revolution, and that whenever it started, like, keep me, like, add me to it. But also then I have to remember, if everybody thinks that way, like, oh, I'm just waiting for it to happen, then it's never going to actually happen. Like, you're going to just keep waiting for somebody to do the work for you, when there's stuff that you can do before it gets to like a widespread movement. And that's also why I really loved the Black Panthers, because obviously, like, they're a very big movement, and that's why you know who they are. But before, they weren't worried about, like, obviously they're worried about everyone in the country unifying, but like, their work started in the grassroots, like, in their country, I mean, in their cities, in their communities, giving out lunch to students. Things that don't need a bunch of organizing. Well, organizing, yes, but not widespread. That's gonna, take a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's really just like, oh, I can babysit a bunch of, younger Black kids. We can all go to a park, sit outside, and, read books. Small things where you can give back to your community, because what you're at the schools you're going that these kids are going to, they're probably not reading no more. But then we can complain that, oh, kids can't read, kids can't do this, but it's like, what are we doing for the children who need the support, who need this work, who can't get the things that we got? And so I've come to the conclusion that it's not everybody's going to be involved in this big scale revolution that I'm imagining, but there are still ways to do said work, and that can be smaller, littler things. That word, littler, smaller things, um, that look like, supporting one another, having conversations with one another, being in grief with one another, not taking all of that alone. America loves to make you feel like it's you win alone, you struggle alone. All of this is, who can independently get there first, and that's not the case. That shouldn't be the case. Um, we are a people who need one another, who need community. And I'm talking to Black folks right now. Like, this has been our tradition for a long time. The Black radical tradition, another interesting, concept to really look into. I'm gonna link that one too. Let me make sure I remember to put all this stuff as well. But the Black radical tradition is basically talking about how, since the dawn of, Black oppression in the United States, in the world, we have always had a tradition of persevering even through the worst, not giving up, and constantly seeing how to get through. And even when we're in the in between, like before it gets better, like finding little things to bring us joy, like the songs that slaves used to sing to, make the time go past. It also was a prayer to God, and also the languages that they created to communicate with one another, like little things that have kept us going through the hard times. that's been the case for years and years and years, centuries and centuries. And so while we're right now in this very hard time, I don't believe this is going to be the end. I believe there will be more, because that's how history works. It's a cycle. But while we're in this period of uncertainty and worry and scariness and dread, like, this is really where the community, the love, the little things play such a big part in, keeping us alive. If it's not going to solve the problems, at least will keep us alive, keep us positive, keep us hopeful. People love to say I think I'm a radical optimist, because I have no choice but to be. Like, I'm alive, so I'd rather, not worry. I'd rather worry. I mean, the thing is, worry and anxiety is all about stuff that hasn't happened, right? So rather than worrying about the bad things that haven't happened, I'm going to believe that there's good things that haven't happened, because at the end of the day, both of them aren't real. So might as well focus on the thing that's not going to make you struggle to sleep at night. And so I am going to work on loving myself, my people, trying to uplift my community, trying to engage in things that make people feel seen and not, go crazy, because that's what they really want us to do. But I am done, low key. It's hot. I'm sweating. I've been talking for a long time, but I've missed this. I will try to do this more often, because obviously when there's so much that happens, I have to cover a lot, which is important. I think people should make sure. I should make sure that all of this is on people's minds, on people's radars. Do some research, do some looking into things, find your own topics to talk about. But yeah, I will see y'all hopefully in the next one, hopefully soon when I get back to school, probably. But keep up with me, follow me here, or subscribe, please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever the heck. And I'll see y'all next time.